You did mention a part where you said marketing is at the helm of discussions, of course, for a company like PepsiCo. Was there a challenge to kind of keep a balance between conveying the message via sustainability while also retaining the identity of the brand?
PepsiCo as a brand is something we actually just relaunched our PepsiCo brand late last year. PepsiCo as a brand is not all that well known. Consumers know and love us through our product brands. So here in India, Pepsi and Kurkure and Lay's, right? I mean, these are brands that people have grown up with. PepsiCo is a brand, some people know and some people don't. What we've tried to do is to say all those brands that you know and love are actually part of a larger company that really cares about the role that we play in society, the role that we play for the communities, for the people we interact with. People don't know this, but PepsiCo is at its heart a huge agricultural organization. We source 50 major crops from 60 major countries. In India alone, we work with 27,000 farmers across 14 states. So, these things are important that we do to be able to have a healthy business, a resilient supply chain, but be able to, again, bring those brands that consumers love and make sure that we still have crops that allow us to create those products.
Very well said, Jim. And since we're getting deeper into understanding India, and you did mention of some important data about your presence, climate volatility is a risk that India is facing actually across the globe. We're not just talking about India as one emerging market, but across the globe it's spread. Tell me, did PepsiCo have to revisit its, say, agri-supply chains or strategies that were already existing with farmers at the fundamental base level in order to adapt?
What we've done is, PepsiCo has always been a very local for local company.
Local for local.
Local for local. In terms of sourcing, we source potatoes around the world. And so we work with farmers, here in India, but in other countries. So in here, the Lay's and Uncle Chips are 100% locally grown Indian potatoes. Right? And so we've always been deep into the communities and the countries where we are because we have those sourcing relationships. And many of those relationships, I was out on a farm earlier this week outside of Ahmedabad, and I met with 10 or 15 farmers, and and one of the farmers brought his father, so the first generation, and also his children. The third generation, and so it was a really special moment for me to be able to be talking to the patriarch who had been farming for, I think he said 50 or 60 years, the father, the current mate who'd been working with PepsiCo for 15 or 20 years, and the next generation who will be working with PepsiCo and taking over. And so it was really a special moment, but that's not uncommon. We have lots of farmers that we work with who have been growing for Lay's and other brands for multi-generations. And so that's really important, but we need them to be resilient. We need them to be able to deal with the shocks. And as you said, this is happening more and more wherever you are. Hotter places are getting hotter, drier places are getting drier, places that are wet are getting wetter. And so how do we work with the farmers and the other people in the supply chain to be resilient? But because we've always been pretty local in what we do, and especially on our foods business, that's something where we just are getting deeper and deeper. So we haven't had to change, we've had to just continue to get deeper and make sure we need to keep farmers farming, and we need farmers to be successful to be able to. It's good for the communities, it's good for the country, it's good for our business.